Time to say hello to that episode in which I talk about my expectations or predictions for the current year. Always suggest this MCU to make a solo debut because they have yet to make a solo debut, and overall have really high expectations for the 2D music scene and for male Seiyu artists. So let's kick off this episode of Seiyu Lounge. Welcome to Seiyu Lounge. I am your host Vanessa, and today's topic is 5 expectations for male Seiyu and 2D music projects in 2025. We're already well into 2025, but it is time to talk a bit about what I expect to change this year, which will be the big comebacks or new releases, or which 2D music projects will jump popularity-wise, and everything else in between. Attention that, from this point on, everything I will be saying in this episode, unless it is previously released singles or albums, are just predictions or expectations of mine. None of these are confirmed, nor do I have any sources indicating that any of these things will happen. So let's start talking about what were my expectations for 2024 and if I got any right. Well, my expectations for 2024, how did they go? Well, last year I was really ambitious. I'm not gonna lie. Those expectations were good, but what we really got was something a bit different. 2024 was atypical in terms of the quality, and many big players when it comes to the male Seiyu artists were not active in the music scene or were met with lukewarm responses to their releases. But let's check the expectations I had for 2024 and which came true or not. So the first expectation was solo debuts by Yuya Hirose and Shun Horie. As you may already know, they didn't make any solo debuts whatsoever, so unfortunately, I keep on dreaming. Number 2 was new full-length albums by Soma Saito, Makoto Furukawa, Toshiki Masuda, and Jaro Axia. Well, this doesn't count as me getting it everything right because I only got one right. So, Soma Saito released his third full-length album, Fictions. Makoto Furukawa and Jaro Axia were active but didn't release any albums, and Toshiki Masuda was nowhere to be found for the second year in a row. Number 3 was Tsuki Pro ends up making their music available on streaming platforms for international fans. Now, I was really ambitious with this one, and look what we have, because Movic actually made the music by all Tsuki Pro groups available on streaming platforms for international fans, which is a surprise. This is one of the best news of the year, by far, especially because this is a franchise that keeps on giving in terms of the quality and consistency, and it's not getting any boring with time, and it is so worth being discovered by a new wave of fans. Number 4 was first full-length albums by Lolodi, Kentito, Sir Vanity, and Takuyaguchi. Now that I look at these, I was really ambitious about many people releasing full-length albums. But yeah, Lolodi sort of released the full-length album if you count the compilation CD release by the end of 2024, signaling, of course, the end of the group's activities, which still hurts. Kentito, Sir Vanity, and Takuyaguchi didn't release their first full-length albums. Takuyaguchi was not active as a solo artist in 2024. Kentito released an EP, and Sir Vanity released a digital single. And number 5 was new Trigger, one-man live show, paired with the third album release. Trigger released several singles in the year, but there was no third album announced, nor another one-man live show. And I had a bonus entry, which was Dear Vocalist and Carnelian Blood Return. So, Dear Vocalist actually made its return in 2024 with the awesome Headliner CD series. And by the end of the year, Reject announced that Carnelian Blood is coming back in 2025. So I got these half right, but still I'm not going to count these as a full right. So, Out of my 5, let's say 6 expectations, only Skip Raw having all its music available on streaming platforms came true. This was the craziest expectation I had, and it actually ended up coming true. But this is a 1 out of 6, so not good. So let's check now my 5 expectations for 2025, and let's be bold. Expectation number 1 is an R&B music project is announced. This has been something I've been wishing for a while, so I love R&B music, and honestly there are several CU out there that basically have mastered or in some way showcased that they have a really high quality level when it comes to this music genre. And those of course are Yumu Uchida, Shunsuke Takeuchi and Shoya Chiba, just to name a few. With so many idol projects, none of those embracing or fully embracing R&B music, and 2 hip-hop projects, plus a couple of rock ones and 1 a cappella project, I feel that we lack something new, something refreshing. R&B music is soulful, can be extremely alluring, even sexy, and is focused more on the voice control and emotional range than most of what we find at the moment into the idol projects, which is generic as heck. This could be, just like Aopella was, a unique opportunity to have Seiyu tackling a mature music genre in which voice is also king, and you'll be melting in a puddle with all the care and allure that comes with R&B music. This is a really bold expectation because the Japanese market could care any less about R&B music. There is a hint of R&B music in the Fabulous Night franchise groups, leading to some of the sexiest and most romantic songs into the music history, but that worked because of the whole mature concept of a host club. I don't see any creators coming forward or companies pitching an R&B project knowing that most Japanese fans, their primary market, will not care about it as much as international fans do, so... Still, this is a place for wild expectations, so this one is the wildest I bring to you, I feel. Number 2, and I'm really in a sort of a rivaling or a fighting vibe in this episode, from what I gather. So the number 2 is Aopella finally gets some competition by another to the a cappella project. So I think this is one thing that may have been in the works since Aopella was announced. From a business perspective, creators and companies are always in the lookout for projects that are popular and bring in attention, because attention brings money. Aopella did just that when it started, showcasing Seiyu performing a cappella music in the same quality level as professional a cappella singers. And fans in Japan and internationally were head over heels about the project, and that has led to consistently having millions of views on their videos on YouTube. I feel that there may be an a cappella project coming. Call it a wild guess or just my business side coming forward, but I feel it. You don't leave a project that has been getting a lot of attention without competition for long. And you don't leave so many amazing male Seiyu that have the potential to perform a cappella music out of a project like Aopella. So there may come some competition eventually. At least I think so. Then again, there are music genres that are easier to craft a project around than others, so this may be a big reason why, of course, idol projects are still dominating the 2D music industry as opposed to hip-hop or rock. But that's also because of how that fandom works, because 2D music has almost the same vibe or the same fandom as idols in general, so they are really vicious type of fans, and usually the types of fans that spend a lot of money and defend their idols with everything they have and more. So that's a different type of thing, and usually content creators want to create an idol project because exactly of that. There will be a tribe around that project, there will be a community then, and then there will be a massive fandom that will be, in most cases, problematic, but will give them a lot of money. So, back to what I was saying. Honestly, seeing how lazy Marvelous has been with the Aopella franchise since basically they took over from K-Lab, the company that launched this project and actually created it, and how they stopped being as open to the international fans as they originally were, because Marvelous is a company with a Japanese first mindset and KLab was an international first company, which made it so that when the project started, most of the content was available at the same time for international fans. I'd love to see a project to rival Aupella and make Marvelous understand that they shouldn't be complacent. They shouldn't be locking music for a while to international fans and actually release everything at the same time and make things available to purchase actually for fans overseas, because right now it's really hard to actually try to get a CD in this franchise without using a proxy. So that complacency that Marvelous has about Aupella only comes from the fact that the Aupella project doesn't have competition at the moment. But as soon as they have, believe me, it's going to be chaotic. So perhaps a bit of competition will lead to more activity for the groups in the Aupella franchise, more music, and a friendly competition that can make both Aupella and a potentially new 2D music project in the same vein grow and bring more visibility to the music genre, seeing as Marvelous has sort of slowed down the project to a weird way and cadence that makes no sense whatsoever. Third one is Lolody gets a final concert with an orchestra. I want this to happen really, really bad. I've talked plenty about this on episodes of Monthly Review, even on the reviews that I wrote about their CDs. I feel that they need an orchestra. So Lolody's End was one of the biggest news and shockers in 2024. I still can't believe one of my favorite groups appeared out of nowhere, conquered my heart in no time, and as fast as they arrived, they went away. It felt like a storm of emotions, always keeping me on my toes, anticipating the next song, the next reinvention in their orchestral and deeply emotional sound. I know I've said this countless times, but Lolody deserves a proper farewell performance. A live concert with an orchestra, even if it is just one song performed out of each album they released, basically. That would be a massive treat for fans of the franchise and a really, really beautiful way to bid goodbye to an amazing group. It would also be the first time ever that a 2D group would perform with a live orchestra supporting them. This could be epic and remain in history, and honestly, I want this to happen. I want people to remember these. Takeshi Hama's music deserves these. Lolody has the vocals to deliver these live in this sort of a more introspective performance, even if having an orchestra, of course, supporting them is kind of stressing and may lead to some mistakes or make the performance a bit more complex than usual. I don't know if anything is going to be announced during the August live event in which Lolody will be participating for the very first and the very last time, which is crazy. But I really hope there is a final concert and that in an ideal world it will be with a live orchestra or a chamber music ensemble. Number 4 is Yuya Hirose, or basically Shun Horie, finally gets solo debuts. This is the 4th year in a row that I say this, basically. So yeah, Yuya Hirose has shown time and time again how technical he is as a singer. He is passionate about it and loves singing, which is something that for some of you may not mean a thing, but if you are sensitive to the performances, it will mean everything. And why everything? Because a singer or performer that loves what he does will always show that in his performances, and it will make your listening experience all the more enjoyable. Just listen to Shunichi Toki, for example. He never sounds like he was paid to sing. Of course he was, but he sounds like he is genuinely there because he wants to be there, because he wants to sing, because he loves to sing. That's the passion I talk about. Yuya Hirose has that, and he has the talent to back it up, so I'd really love to see him making a solo debut after years of flirting with Pony Canyon. Honestly, Hirose, just start a solo career. Really, you could be the very first and best exclusively R&B singer among male seiyuu. Just imagine it. At the same time, Shun Horie has a talent that far surpasses that of many of the talents signed at Kiramune. A unique raspy tenor voice ready to be unleashed in creative ways. Horie has both the skills, technique, and range to deliver outstanding performances. He can perform rock, pop, R&B, ballads, disco, dance, anything really that you bring to the table, and in varying vocal ranges. He can sound like a strong faux baritone, once again a tough technique to master that very few tenors manage to pull off really well. Let's say that the big examples of the really well pulled off faux tenor range come from Toshiyuki Toyonaga, Soma Saito and Yumo Uchida. And of course, Shun Horie can bring so much power and emotion to his performances. I'd love to see him going solo, while still of course being part of Sparklu, a bit like how Takuya Guchi went solo, still as part of Trigonal. Horie has generational talent when it comes to singing, so I'd love him to not being confined to a couple of lines per song. He actually deserves a bigger stage. Number 5 is Makoto Furukawa. Yumo Uchida and Shunichi Toki released new full-length albums, and Soma Saito releases a new EP by the end of the year. So this is a big one. I want to keep things, of course, a bit realistic, so I bring these expectations to the table because I feel that some will actually release because of how they are organized internally. So, 2024 was a quieter year when it came to the full album releases. Few were the male seiyuu artists to release big albums, and the big album releases tanked quite fast, much to everyone's surprise. This year I am expecting full-length albums by some artists that either follow some sort of intricate release schedule pattern or have been long overdue releasing a new album. Makoto Furukawa is coming off a strong single in 2023 and a conceptual release in 2024. I think he has been tinkering with his music and what his solo career should sound like, or be like. This may have been a big reason why he said Kaleidoscope was going to be a new chapter in his solo career. The sound is less jazz, which was a pity, but rock is still there, and I feel it is a matter of time until he comes forward and creates a conceptual rock EP or releases a full-length album with so much jazz that it will throw everyone off. One thing is for sure, in an album format, Makoto Furukawa is one of the most consistent solo artists, keeping a story going from start to finish and making it worth the journey. I've said this countless times before, but Makoto Furukawa and Soma Saito are two sides of the same coin. I'm predicting we get a full-length album by the third quarter of the year, maybe end of the year. Then we have Yumo Uchida. Yumo Uchida is currently focusing on his Versus Yuma series, but I feel we may be getting a full-length album by the end of the year. Will it be a Versus Yuma album just to compile all the collaboration songs? Well, perhaps. Knowing how King Records works, because they want to make money and they don't care really about giving good quality or good value for the money, they will probably want to compile all the songs, selling them again in a package with just 1 or 2 new songs in there to justify creating that package. I feel that's a waste of money, and it would be a better idea, for example, for Yumo Uchida to surprise everyone with the release of a full-length album in which half of it is Versus Yuma songs, and you can create that as being a Versus Yuma half, and then the other half is just Yuma, which would be a part with just solo songs, which are completely new. I don't know, King Records, if you want the idea, please take it. I just want to be mentioned once. Kidding aside, that would be a really good idea. Then, Shunichi Toki has been on a roll in the past couple of years, and 2024 was his best year as a solo artist by far. After the release of awesome singles and a strong EP, easily one of the best releases of the year, I think it is time for a new full-length album. And if it is even a fraction of how good Good For was, we're in for a treat. And after a year to forget as a solo artist with some of the poorest album sales to date and the worst marketing behind his work, in 2025 Soma Saito has the opportunity to regain his momentum and bring out a powerful, story-driven EP. Is he going to do so? Perhaps we may be getting something by the end of the year. Why, you ask? Because between albums, Saito usually releases 1 or 2 EPs. And since albums have dropped every 2 years, 2025 is a year for an EP, if he follows this schedule, of course. Hopefully we get another powerful CD, because still, I honestly loved Fictions and it is my album of 2024, but I felt that heart-wrenching, rug-pulling, mind-blowing storytelling was completely missing from this album, big time, really. And after the powerhouses that were My Beautiful Valentine and Ying Yang, and I'm not even going to say In Bloom, I feel that Fictions was a bit below the storytelling quality that he has used us to. Still, I'm a massive fan of his, so as long as I'm getting more music from him, I'm pretty much happy. Then if the music clicks with me or not, that's a different story. Still, I'm betting on a big year for Soma Saito, so let's see how it goes. The question is, will any of these expectations actually come true? Well, I sure hope so, at least better than 1 out of 6, so let's see. I'm keeping the outro in this episode quite short because this is already a really big episode. But this, I would say, 2024 was really atypical to the point that it was the thing that I thought would be the hardest to achieve was actually the easiest one to achieve. And the easiest ones that I felt, well, these can be achievable before the first half of the year is over, we actually didn't get them to actually happen. So, I'm hoping that 2025 is a bit more linear, more predictable. I like predictable years, and I also like to be surprised, and 2024 was neither. So I'm hoping that we get more quality, we get more music, it is more active from the male seiyuu side when it comes to the solo artists, because it was really empty, inactive for most of the year. 2D music projects were really active, but solo seiyuu artists were not. And I feel that we were lacking a little bit of that. Although in previous years we had, I would say, an exaggeration of the quantity of music that we had available, because there were, I believe, 2022 was crazy. We had really good CDs every single month. That was a bit intense, I would say. That was an amazing year, but it was really, really intense. So I feel that in some way I was expecting that to be replicated in the following years, but it has been actually slowing down as time passes. But I'm expecting 2025 to be a big one when it comes to the quality. I hope at least that I get half of what I said true, but I would be happy with 2 out of 5 to actually come true, because these are really, really awesome predictions on my end. Some really crazy, ambitious ones, but if we get anything that I actually expect to happen, we are going to have a really good year, really. So these were actually my expectations, and I checked the ones that I had from 2024. I really have a lot of fun with this type of episode because I can be here making predictions and I don't have that stress of I need to check sources and see if everything is alright. So in this case, I'm focusing on what I would love to happen or see happening, more so than having to be factual and correct how I need to be in all other episodes of this podcast. So this is a fun one because I don't need to fact check anything, because these are just predictions. So, in case you have participated in the episode from last year and you actually had your expectations, let me know in the comments if those expectations actually came true or not. And if you didn't and you want to actually participate in this exercise with me, leave your expectations in the comments, and next year let's revisit those for another episode of this podcast and see if we actually got any of those right. It would be awesome. So this may be a really awesome year. Of course, we have a couple of things that are not so good because we are going to say temporarily goodbye to the From Argonavis franchise by the end of this year. So no more Gyroaxy from me for a while, so that will hurt a little bit, to add to insult to injury because I am already hurting because of Lulodi, so that's tough. But let's see what the year has to offer, and hopefully it's more good news than big bad news like this year. Now tell me, which are your expectations for 2025? Do you have a male seiyuu that you want to see making a solo debut, for example? Or do you have any expectations about the seiyuu industry and any changes that you would like to see? Any 2D music projects that you would love to have their music available on streaming platforms, for example, or any weird 2D music projects that you would love to see being created? Let me know in the comments on YouTube, of course. And remember, leave your comments as complex or as simple as they may be, and you can be featured on upcoming episodes of Seiyu Lounge. And if you enjoyed this episode and don't want to miss the Hand That Feeds HQ's weekly male Seiyu and music-related content, hit the subscribe button. And if you are listening to this podcast on a podcast listening platform, please consider following the podcast and leaving a review. Leaving a review is really simple and helps other people find this podcast and fall in love with male Seiyu artists and 2D groups. I'll return next week with another episode of Seiyu Lounge. Thank you for listening, and see you guys around.